guys, my name is Ashley Long, and this is my MAPIT presentation for the community of Knoxville, Tennessee. Let me get this pulled up here. All right. There we go. All right, just a quick little MAPIT, what it stands for: M, mobilize, A, assess, P, plan, I, implement, T, track. The community, again, is Knoxville, Tennessee. My family was in more West Knoxville, and that's where I assess the community and assess their needs. The big issue I saw was no sidewalks in neighborhoods. Their neighborhoods, a lot of the really nice neighborhoods around there, the closest park is miles away. And part of the issue I started thinking is physical activity. So based on research and data and looking at it, I realized they really, really need things like that to encourage physical activity. Part of touching base on the healthy people topics and objectives, one of them is physical activity, which the goal of physical activity is to improve health, fitness, and quality of life through daily physical activity. All right, first, mobilize, the mission and vision. I want to increase the physical activity in the community of Knoxville, specifically West Knoxville, where the family I assess lives. The community lacks sidewalks in many residential areas, like the neighborhoods. Also, right where their neighborhood is, and many others, they're along a really busy road called Kingston Pike, which has a lot of grocery stores, pharmacies, lots of things. And if there were sidewalks leading to those things too, I believe people would walk to the grocery store for a couple things, or they would use sidewalks and bike places a lot more, really increasing their physical activity and health. Potential partners, there's a group called Knoxville Urban Metropolitan Planning Organization. They help transportation planning in Knox and Blount counties, and they do a lot of the sidewalk building and creating for the community. Obviously, physical activity is positively affected by structures in the environment, such as sidewalks, cycling, trails, parks, things like that. So those are things to assess to encourage physical activity. Like I said, there's at least 2 parks in West Knoxville, but you probably have to drive from a lot of these neighborhoods. The community recognizes a safety concern that Kingston Pike is a really busy road. A lot of these neighborhoods don't have sidewalks, and people do walk along Kingston Pike. Sidewalks will help increase that safety as well, not just physical activity, but encourage people from maybe in the middle of the night if they're wearing dark clothing or someone looks at their phone and an accident happens. All right, next, assess. So as far as data, 29.6% of Knoxville is considered obese, which is classified as a body mass index of over 30. Also, 38.8% of individuals in Knoxville are considered overweight with a BMI between 25 and 30. I started recognizing that Knoxville has an issue with physical activity and obesity when I started looking at a lot of the hospitals, including mine I work with, have a lot of bariatric and weight loss surgery. So really, really trying to push to get these numbers down and increase physical activity. You know, with the beautiful creations of park, and Knoxville's really, really a beautiful community, but if people had sidewalks, they'd want to be outside more. Also, 26% of Knoxville residents report no leisure time activity, which is activity outside of work. 26% of them state that they don't do any physical activity outside of work. So who is affected by this? So many people that don't want to pay gym membership, can't pay gym membership, or don't own gym equipment, or don't have resources in their home, you know, they're affected by this. Their only exercise is sidewalks and things like that. Also, families with children. Families are going to want, you know, sidewalks to walk their kids to their friend's house, or to walk them maybe to the cul-de-sac so they can play safely. Family's not going to want their child out walking around if there's no sidewalks that are safe. Again, West Knoxville does contain 2 parks, but a lot of them are kind of isolated and you have to drive to it. There's very few neighborhoods actually around it. They're beautiful and lots of walking and things like that. But again, you have to walk to it. Excuse me. Needs identified in the community as stated, sidewalks in all the neighborhoods. I truly think all of them. Oh, many have them, but some of the older, even nice ones don't. I have even seen some new ones pop up that don't have sidewalks, and that just seems kind of like a standard that should happen. Also, I believe that sidewalks on larger roads like the Kingston Pike so they can walk from their neighborhood to maybe, get a loaf of bread. If it's a beautiful day and you just need some bread, the perfect exercise would just be to walk to the store and walk back, especially if you're only within a mile or two from the store, which a lot of these communities are. The increasing physical activity will not only decrease other health issues and obesity, but it's going to help heart disease in the area. As far as a plan, again, to encourage the physical activity, we're going to add some sidewalks in the neighborhood and community. Each neighborhood that doesn't have a sidewalk will be identified. Most neighborhoods have monthly meetings. A lot of them have homeowners and things like that. When they have their homeowners association, they can create actually a bigger meeting. They can put flyers in the mailbox and say, hey, we're having a meeting about the prospect of sidewalks. Anyone that's interested can come. I believe at these meetings they should kind of poll and see, do you guys want sidewalks? Is that something that you want? And see if it's something that they could find funding for. They'll help discuss funding. They could do things such as, some of them have homeowners fees. They could incorporate that. They could have auctions, any kind of ideas that the neighborhood itself and community can come up with to make donations and plan the money. There will be a representative from each neighborhood meeting, and then they will go on to meet with the Knoxville Urban Area Metropolitan Planning Organization to implement this with the sidewalks. Talk about funding, talk about the plan, talk about stuff like that, and that person will be the liaison between the neighborhood and the planning organization. I think a good goal is within 2 years that 2 neighborhoods that wanted sidewalks will get them. And within 5 years, perhaps maybe there'll be a lot more sidewalks in that major shopping areas like Kingston Pike and West Knoxville. Those probably take a little bit longer than the neighborhood ones. To implement, as I discussed the meetings, vote on the sidewalks. The best way is probably communicate via flyers. I don't know if anyone's lived in a neighborhood, people put flyers in your mailbox, you read them. That way the person can choose to come to the meeting. If they have no interest in having sidewalks, they don't have to come. But those that are interested will come and put their input, and then they, especially if they're wanting to fund it, some people may be willing to put some money in out of pocket, and enough of the neighborhood can pay for sidewalks. Or, like I said, car washes, auctions. People get really creative with resources that they have through their work and things like that to raise money for things they need. That head of the neighborhood meeting, maybe the president of the homeowners, or just someone they've appointed, will be the liaison to discuss funding and time frame, and they'll keep coming back. I think a good plan is about 6 months down the road, that neighborhood liaison will meet again with the planning organization, discuss how far they are, because they should have started construction and moving and things like that, discuss how the funding's going so far, and then they will have a meeting also with the neighborhood to lay out how the progress, any concerns that the neighborhood has, like maybe they don't like the construction times or something like that, to see how it's going so these residents can see where their money is going in the goal. I think after the 6 months, they will meet a year from the original plan. I hope maybe some of these smaller neighborhoods, a lot of these sidewalks will be done by then, so they can talk about it. And maybe the ones that aren't done, they can track the progress, see how it's going, see how much funding has been put in, if they need more and things like that. Afterwards, I think probably about 2 years post having the sidewalks, they should discuss again, how are you liking the sidewalks? Has it increased your physical activity? Has it increased your want of physical activity? What have you started doing? Things like that. A good way is at these meetings, a quick little survey. Scale of 1 to 10, how physically active were you prior to the sidewalks? 1 being nothing, 5 super active, circle. Simple, meaning like, then after the sidewalks, how has this increased your physical activity? And then they can poll that it's actually been helpful. Obviously, the goal is continuously to increase the physical activity, not only with adults that are willing to take walks and things like that, but getting the children out there and the family comfortable with children going out in their neighborhoods and being active. Children these days like to sit in front of computers and cell phones and play video games, and it's a lot of organizations out there really pushing to get them out, to go to the parks and stuff like that. But how about their own neighborhoods, It's a good place to start. And if there's sidewalks and safe areas, they'll go outside more. Obviously, with hopes As I laid out before, the family neighborhoods had no sidewalks. They weren't be able to use their neighborhood as an exercise. It's just such a simple exercise, 30-minute exercise a day. Walking in your neighborhood can help, walking on sidewalks can help prolongate your life, decrease your risk factors, things like that. Also families, children can walk around, be active, be outside, things like that. With these new sidewalks, it'll encourage physical activity, encourage people to be outside, and down the road encourage walking longer distances. Maybe if somebody has an issue and they don't have cars, they can walk down Kingston Pike, go to the grocery store, go get their prescription, things like that, making their lives a little bit easier out here. West Knoxville is not as a walker friendly as it is in downtown Knoxville. Downtown Knoxville, you can walk anywhere where you live and just get what you need. West Knoxville, things are spread out, but not necessarily. Kingston Pike has a lot of neighborhoods right there and grocery stores right nearby that I think would really, really impact from sidewalks. In fact, I was driving my car today, and a man was bicycling on Kingston Pike on the road. I almost got angry at him, like, oh, why are you in the road? I looked. Again, there's no sidewalks. This man is trying to be out and physically active and get there, but he's not safe because there's no sidewalks. He had everything, you know, he had reflective gears, know he's there, but what choice did he have? But at least he's getting out there. These sidewalks will help that tremendously. With the physical activity, people will be able to lose weight. The prevalence of obesity will hopefully decrease even more. Excuse me. And then, of course, polls, more physical activity outside of work, people will probably walk around a lot more. So that'll decrease. People will be active. All right, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.